Hi, Mynoo.
Hi, Catherine.
So I was just telling our guests that we're here tonight to discuss care in this unique perspective of care, caring, careless, and careful. I can't wait to hear more on this.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm very happy to share. And, a lot of the wisdom also comes through live. So I also am always enthusiastic about what else is going to show up.
But that's really interesting for others to know. This isn't like a prepared session where Mynoo comes in fully armed and her notes in hand. It's not that at all. She receives the information very much live, and so it's flowing, correct, Mynoo, as it's coming in?
Yeah, mostly, I mean, there's some aspects I get to see. So I get to see like a framework of the general area it's going to be in. And then off I go.
Lovely. So I'm going to go ahead and start letting some of our guests in. Is there anything you want to give us as some advanced insider information before we get started tonight? We always like to come on live just a few minutes early. Sometimes we get a sneak peek in what's in store.
The key thing that I got to see from really preparing my own understanding of this particular pearl as a pearl of wisdom. Remember, these pearls have been chosen because of what they bring forth to enable us to co-create a world as a world that works for everyone. So what I really got to see is care. There are so many ways in which we use that word, that phrase, care home, be careful, and stop being careless. And actually, in its most holistic state, it is one of the foundational pieces of a triangle that comes together to make this planet a place of love, joy, and care.
Mm.
It's like, remember, you've heard me talk about that the sacred geometry symbols for this age are very triangles,
Mm.
So, and you've also heard me talk about when we've done the whole money exercise, what money is.
Yes.
It's all the whole agenda now, as per the divine plan, is to transform this planet into a planet of pure love and care, and love, joy, and care. So those are the three elements of the triangle.
Ooh, I love that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let some of our guests in so that we can get started on the Zoom as well. We have Vince joining us and Tokes. Kenneth is in the house. Welcome, everyone, to tonight. We're just getting started here. Mynoo was giving us a little inside information on tonight's subject, which is care. And it's so great to see everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening on this Thursday night. And we're here for our ninth pearl of wisdom on care, caring, careful, and careless. So we're very excited to hear Mynoo's perspective. And Mynoo was just reminding us that the information flows in. It's not like she's prepared this necessarily. She's actually streaming it, if you will. So it's coming in from the divine sources through her as we're live, which is really quite unique and interesting.
The
Thank
the the cool thing about all of this is because I have such a strongly developed logical mind, and you've seen how this wisdom is. It's so practical, it's so implementable, it just comes through in like in perfect implementable chunks. So
Well, we were just speaking, Mynoo, earlier to those of you who have not had a chance to be with Mynoo on one of these events. And, she comes from this space of being in as a spiritual wisdom meets the practicality of being I'm going to say, extraordinary entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. So it's very unique how this comes through because there is such a practical application that's so unique and different to the work that you bring forth. So thank you and welcome everyone. Very excited to have you join us. And Mynoo, we're right on time here, 5:30. She's going to take us on a little journey into care, caring, careful, and careless. This is our ninth pearl of wisdom.
Great. I'm excited to see Joni with her little grandbaby, Cassidy, as well. So she doesn't normally join us. Hi, Joni. Okay, so let's begin. Catherine, you will take care of the back room.
I definitely will. Daniela, Kathleen have joined, Christian, Connie, David, Kenneth, Renell. We have a full house tonight. Vince, and we even have Joel in the background there with Vince. So I'll turn it over to you, Mynoo, and I'll take care of the back end.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. So I was sharing earlier on that we are on the 9th pearl of wisdom. And just a reminder for us that each of these pearls of wisdom are pearls because they come together to support us to co-create a world that works for everyone. Really bringing forth, bringing to life, making alive the vision that Bucky Fuller anchored as a stake in the ground for our world. So this pearl of wisdom is all about care. And as most of the specifics literally just come through as I show up on Friday evening or Thursday evening or Friday morning for me when I'm in India and right now in Dubai. I do get an overarching framework of what it's going to be about. And in the fullness of understanding what care is about, I got to see that it is one of the three apexes of the triangle sacred geometry. And the sacred geometry symbols that are very powerful at this time, that are supporting us to anchor these pearls and all the energetics that go with them. That sacred geometry is triangle based. It's a collection of triangles. And the three apexes of this triangle are love, joy, and care. We've been doing a lot of work on love, understanding that in our group on Beyond Meditation. And I'm sure at some point that will come through as a pearl of wisdom. Joy is definitely one of the pearls that is coming up. And today we are focusing on care. So when we have a pearl that comes in, each pearl has an innate vibration. So as that pearl rolls out, as the understanding of it rolls out, and as we bring forth that pearl with that understanding, we are actually expanding that vibration. And that vibration is spreading at a cellular level within us, and through us, it starts to spread across all the connections that we have ever had in the world. And through those connections, it starts to percolate all of the living things that make up this planet. And as the living things start to embody and imbue that vibration, then all vibrational frequencies that exist on the planet start to get infused with that vibration. Remember, everything is a vibration. Even this computer that I'm looking at is a collection of vibrations. So there is an aliveness that is very innate to this planet through the vibrational frequencies. So the innate vibration of care it's a vibration of being seen. So many, if you think about it, so many dysfunctional behaviors that we sometimes see around us, sometimes, bring forth ourselves, are often a cry for attention or a cry for being acknowledged. So the moment we bring care in, we are actually invoking that vibration of being seen. And when you feel seen, then you can literally show up. And when you feel seen, it automatically has an impact on showing up in your highest good because you're being seen. We create all sorts of behavioral malfunctions as a way of, screaming, see me, see me, see me, I'm here, I'm here. But if you already know that you are seen, you can simply show up, you can simply be. So that's the innate vibration of care. Now let's look at what is care. What is care made up of? It is one of the pearls, and it is a 4-letter word. So a pearl that is a 4-letter word often is an indicator of 4 foundational pillars, where each alphabet denotes a particular foundational pillar. So care is a combination of 4 foundations that we are anchoring: conscious awareness, respect, enjoyed. Conscious awareness, respect, enjoyed. And we will, as always, with these pearls, break it up into individual parts and look at each one. So let's look at the conscious part. Conscious brings forth a brings forth a presence. So when you are conscious, you actually start acknowledging, even if it is done in an unconscious way, the moment you become conscious, you're acknowledging your presence. And in that acknowledgement of your presence, what that does is it reactivates the presence of dignity. And dignity is honoring of your own worthiness. It is something that we are born with. We don't lose it. It doesn't diminish. It doesn't go away. We just overlook it. And we sometimes forget about it. And we start seeking to honor ourselves through validation coming from the outside, as opposed to understanding that we have our own innate worthiness. So the key to unlocking a remembrance of dignity lies in the first letter of care, which is conscious. I mean, the exciting thing about all of this stuff when it comes through and when I start to see it play out in the world is it's a word that's used a lot these days. So, even when we use words like this, we are actually just activating like a chain reaction and dots start to get connected. So when we talk about conscious, we are connecting the dots all the way to reawakening or re-remembrance of dignity. And as dignity starts to be invoked, more and more people start to recognize that they are worthy, they start honoring their own worthiness, and there's a very different vibe that starts to spread across the planet. There's some more to be talked about in terms of conscious. Like I said, the moment we even use the phrase conscious, we use the word conscious, we are actually being present. We are presencing without even realizing we are presencing our presence. And because the dictionary meaning of conscious has got an explanation which brings in a connection to the mind, the presence isn't something that is only unconscious. It actually is something that we own, and we show up with that level of confidence. So literally conscious, by presencing our presence, enriches our own confidence. And conscious, as one of the pillars of spreading the vibe of care on the planet, has people become very, very aware of the choices that they're making. And hence, consciousness flows into awareness. And aware is the second pillar of care. Now, when you choose to become aware, it now starts to be an inclusive expression of you. You're conscious and you're aware. You're aware of you. You're aware of your surroundings. You're aware of what you are experiencing and feeling within you. So awareness, like conscious, brings in presence. Awareness actually brings about the connections. So it's if this was a circuit that was being connected to spread the vibe of and a knowing of being seen, then awareness is a very important node of that. It is the connector that connects all of that. It is a very important connector, certainly, that connects all of the 108 pearls of wisdom. Conscious awareness. Conscious awareness of the state of yourself. If you are to now apply that to you, becoming consciously aware of the state of you, it immediately gets you to do a deep dive within you. And what it does is it has you look at how you might have reacted to a particular situation. And you immediately start going through deeper and deeper layers until you get to the essence of what was at the core of that triggered this reaction or this response. So when I applied it to myself, and there's a lot that's going on the planet for us to react and respond in a variety of ways, So I have a number of things that I just feel so blessed and blissed and, overwhelmed with gratitude and appreciation. Applying my presence, conscious, and extending it to awareness, it got me to, first of all, experience this whole experience of bliss. It got me to understand what bliss actually is. Because remember, one of our 10 commandments is a switch from sustainable to regenerative. So I always look now at everything with that regenerative lens. So experience of bliss, yes, it is amazing. So how do I have it be something that regenerates itself? And when I went into that space, I was able to see this is the awareness protocol that I'm implementing here. You know, when I said, okay, I now want to make bliss regenerative, I saw that all I had to do was to count my blessings. What was giving rise to this waves and waves of feeling of bliss and feeling blessed was actually becoming consciously aware of my blessings. And as more and more blessings started to show up, and I was like hearing myself exclaim, wow. I then saw, okay, bliss is a consequence of counting my blessings. So then I started asking the question, okay, bring it on. How much better can it get? But I stayed in the doingness of counting my blessings. But it all began with awareness. Now, at the same time, I thought this is interesting. So I can take an experience that feels so joyful and apply conscious awareness to it. These are the two pillars of one of the three apexes of the triangle that is like the baseline of the new world: love, joy, and care. And taking the first two of these foundational pillars of care, if I brought that in and I applied it to counting my blessings, and bliss is a consequence of that, and bliss regenerates. And it literally regenerates. It only takes a few moments of consciously, with awareness, counting my blessings. And then it just regenerates. I go into like a natural modus operandi of just counting my blessings. And what a wonderful exclamation. How much better can it get? As opposed to, oh, stop gloating, it might go away. So these are all like little catalysts that you just add into that mix, and a new form of an alchemic reaction develops. So I thought, okay, if I can have bliss be regenerated by applying conscious awareness to that experience of overwhelm, waves of bliss, can I actually use it to stop something that from percolating? Stop something so it goes away. So, I looked at different areas of my life. And I have quite a bit of travel coming up. And, there is some concern around it, in my loved ones. There's also a lot of enthusiasm and excitement about it in my heart. But I was finding that, I was spending more time than required justifying why it was okay for me to travel. But I was also seeing, because that is a gift that I have of seeing, I was able to see my field was actually getting getting affected by people's concerns. It was actually, getting a little bit fractured because of the concerns that people were either holding, saying, or not saying. So I thought, okay, I shall use these two pillars of care. Because really, by me allowing myself to engage in the concerns that were being expressed, I was showing that I cared. So if conscious awareness are two of the foundational pillars of care, let's use those two and see how I can work with it. So I applied awareness. I saw that even though I wasn't buying into the concerns, they were affecting me at an energetic level. And it was starting to get, weary, like tired. So when I went into that with the awareness lens, with an intention that I was actually going to stop this concern affect me, I saw that really what was affecting me was was another concern altogether, which was, what if I didn't take this concern on board from someone who really cares and and is demonstrating their love through that concern? What if I ignore it? Will I be causing this person to feel really hurt? And that's not who I am. And then I looked at, well, what is the concern about causing someone to feel hurt? And will that even happen? I don't necessarily know. I saw that I had just gotten on to, I may be causing this person hurt. So I was allowing for that concern to propagate. And really, when I applied awareness, I saw that, yes, there was this dialogue going on in my mind about I might cause them hurt. But really, all they were looking for was a way in which they could allay their concerns. So if they felt that I had this confidence in myself, it was actually going to release the concern vibe from their field. So I would, in fact, be supporting them by allaying their concerns, by not receiving or not even accepting what they're concerned about, because they're not real. It's coming from a perceived notion of something that might have occurred in the past in their world being projected into the future. That, staying with the awareness lens, I then went into, okay, so how do I do this? And what I saw was all I had to do was to arm them with their own miracle lens and have them see the fullness of what actually exists. That is making the heart sing, because the more they share about their concern with me, the more disconnected they get from where they are present, the more unconscious they become of what is, and the more disconnected they become from themselves. And I was going through the care foundations. So I was very present and connected, but most people might at this point have said, okay, just done with this. I don't really need this in my life. So they would even start getting disconnected from the person that they actually cared about. So that was a very interesting understanding, that if I am to put a stop to something that is not serving me, there was a very positive and proactive way in which, and very inspiring way in which I could make that happen. Go in and look at, the miracles that are around. raise their awareness that as long as they are breathing and their heart is beating, it is telling them about the miracles that exist. So without causing any delusion, I was actually presencing them to what's real, bringing consciousness back, stationing them in awareness. So, I mean, for me, that was like, wow, what a cool strategy this is. Consciousness, conscious and awareness coming together. It allows us to regenerate that which we wish to multiply so that it keeps regenerating and you can move on to bigger and greater and more inspiring things. And you can use the same nuances of awareness, but to drill down what's really at the core of everything and put in place, very simply, your own way in which you can put a stop to that which no longer serves you. And what's more, you put a stop to it not by saying stop that, you put a stop to it by actually reconnecting to what is using your own miracle lens. And the miracle lens approach to stop dysfunctional behaviors from occurring around you or showing up in your field, affecting your field, that in itself is regenerative. Because once you start seeing what is going on there that is making your heart sing, it just keeps multiplying and multiplying and multiplying by itself. It's regenerative by its own nature because your heart is beating. And since you've connected the dots, beat of the heart equals, there's something making it sing, equals, there is a miracle there. And it's just a matter of my conscious awareness to connect to that miracle. Voila, you're on the path. And now let's look at the R. R for respect, conscious awareness and respect. Respect is the combination of the three has a vibe. The innate vibe of respect is the vibe of dignified. And remember, dignity is honoring of your own worthiness. You feel dignified when you honor your own worthiness, not somebody else out there. When you honor your own worthiness, people around you notice it as well. And what happens is there is a centeredness as opposed to a gloating way of talking about your worthiness. You're honoring your own worthiness. It brings in a presence of gravitas with which you show up. So it literally, when you honor your own worthiness, it literally only takes that for you to put yourself in the space where from that lens, you automatically start honoring that in others. And that includes not just other humans, but also all living things and the planet itself. When we disconnect from that, which is we stop experiencing ourselves as dignified, when we stop honoring our own worthiness, we give ourselves permission to dishonor that in others. Be it chopping trees indiscriminately, be it spreading, all forms of pollutants, consciously or unconsciously. It all stems from us not honoring our own worthiness, which gives us the permission to do the same thing in others. And that's it. We start doing it. And we get further and further and further away from something that we are born with, which is a knowing that we are honored for all the worth that we bring and we anchor into our planet. Respect literally opens the doorway to the experience of feeling dignified. You become the dignitary. The interesting thing, as I did a deep dive into each of the pillars that make up care as a vibration, where you feel seen, I found each one of them is whole and complete in itself. If you did nothing else and just really operated with this conscious, being very conscious, which means being present at all times, in the modus operandi of really presenting your presence in any interaction you have, presenting your presence to yourself, that in itself is so whole and complete. It'll transform from the moment that you take it on, it'll transform all your experiences. It'll bring a sense of calmness within you. Awareness by itself is whole and complete, because it takes you to the essence of what triggers, or the essence of what invokes and activates. And with awareness, you also stop becoming over analytical. It brings a centeredness. With awareness, you also plug into the art of allowing, and everything becomes an art. And there is a rhythm. If you look at an artist at work, even if they are creating caricatures and they're doing it with great speed, there is complete presence. It's like a meditative state. And they allow an expression of themselves to flow through them. And that is what becomes available to you when you apply awareness. Respect. It's as if when you apply respect, this is like literally you're all dressed to go out into the world, and you then find the best shoes that suit the occasion, that are comfortable, and you put your shoes on. You stand up tall as a dignitarian, and the red carpet gets laid out, and you step on it and you start walking. That's what respect enables, because it reawakens the remembrance of dignity, the honoring of your own worthiness. And the interesting thing with dignity is, the interesting thing about dignity is, because it is one of the three things that you are born with, and that it is not diminished at all, the moment you reconnect to that pilot light that is still lit up within you, all those years of stuff that might have depleted you or added to the notion of somehow you are not worthy enough. It's as if they start becoming invisible. They become, very amorphous, and they start dissolving themselves. The three things that we are born with, they literally are like a pilot light that is still lit up. Choice, dignity, and your unique mastery. We call it the source mastery. It's always lit up. So when you connect with that pilot light of dignity, it's suddenly that warmth comes in. It's like it was cold and suddenly you are warm, and it's this wonderful, soft, fuzzy warmth in terms of experience that you start having. And you start noticing it because it calls you to notice. The warmth is definite. So it calls you to notice that. And as you notice it, it is again one of those things that becomes regenerative. And once you have remembered it, that remembrance does not go away. All of this came from respect, presencing, awareness, and experiencing respect. So the conscious is presencing, awareness is an understanding of all the different layers of nuance, experiencing the fullness, the whole and completeness of respect. And remember, the exciting thing about care is any one of these implemented in its implementation, you presence and you enjoy and you experience the whole and completeness of what that vibe is. E of care is about enjoyed, conscious awareness, respect, enjoyed. The enjoyed part, the moment you even think the word enjoy, it immediately puts you in joy because that is what it's meant to be. In joy is enjoy. So rather than enjoy become just another act of doing, what if you actually connect it to what enjoy is? Enjoy is a presence in joy. So there you are, presencing your presence. That's the conscious, and you're doing so consciously. You're standing there with complete awareness. So there's a spatial awareness. There's like an understanding that is there of what's going on. You're standing tall as a dignitarian. And you are in joy. And that's what the E is. The interesting thing about enjoy, and which is enjoy, in fact, is that it is completely in the rhythm of the vibe of our planet, which is a rejoicing vibe. When you understand that enjoy, in fact, is a being, a state of being, that beingness of being in joy is what enjoy is. You are in the rhythm of the rejoicing vibe. When being in the rhythm of the rejoicing vibe, it starts to, and you get there if you're actually using the care sequence. You've got you're conscious, you're aware, the respect and honoring of your own worthiness is there, and you are in joy. You're connecting these dots in such a way that joy automatically multiplies. It automatically regenerates. One thing leads to another, and each one adds to the different layers of joy. I mean, the interesting thing about the four foundational pillars that make up, that come together for this pearl to be a pearl that makes this world a world that works for everyone, is that each one is whole and complete, and each one in its own right is regenerative. And each one can be used for tough challenges, depressing situations, as well as ecstatic, uplifting situations. And all of them together and individually keep you flowing. And it keeps you flowing with your center of gravity intact. And you can choose to express that flow in whichever way you wish. So it brings forth an expression of you that is being propelled as a matter of choice. So you start to bring in a very beautiful nuance to choice, where your choosing becomes conscious, aware, respect, enjoyed. Given that you are choosing anyway, and you are always choosing, then why not choose with care? Conscious awareness, respect, enjoyed. I like that. I like that. It's this approach has helped me immensely as I look at, you know, um, the whole vaccine phenomenon, how it's playing out, some of the conflicts that as they're rising to the surface. I can have an opinion about those. I don't have to make them me. They don't even define me. They actually have me understand that I do have some, my own perspective, and I just have to observe deeply. And I can choose how I choose to react and respond. And I can do so with care, conscious awareness, respect, and joy. So it's like you could say it's like a filter applied to choice. And I mean, I do have a lot of fun with these things. I think it was a couple of weeks ago when I'd shared the ninth pearl, what it was going to be about with Catherine. And from that point on, I got the overarching framework of it, the care framework. And I started playing with it, and I started working with it, and then I started working it. And I did that with choice, you know? I thought, okay, I'm choosing anyway. Well, let me bring this in. Conscious awareness, respect, and joy. Would I choose this? And you know what it did? This is so interesting. I mean, this is a time, you heard me talk about it is 2021, it's flowing with flow. And if you are not in your flow, you will experience the flowing current as a current that's like lashing and passing against you. After a while, it starts corroding you. If you are in your flow, it's very soft and gentle, and it just keeps moving you forward. So there are some strong experiences that people have. It also means that it gets multiplied very fast because the current is flowing no matter what. So I've had people around me react, respond in whatever was going on in their life in very emotional way, in very charged ways. And coming from conscious awareness, respect, enjoyed way of choosing how I react or respond in that situation, enabled me to actually be there, like present and aware, with respect, honoring my own worthiness and honoring that in others. It basically meant I was not taking anything in. I was very present and engaged, receiving the person, as opposed to allowing myself to be bombarded by the information or the data. Choosing in this care way, I was receiving the fullness of this person, and in no time at all, they themselves would dissipate. They didn't feel that they were ignored by me because I wasn't, getting into a dialogue with them. They really felt seen. They felt heard. They felt received. And it also meant there was nothing that was, damaging the integrity of my field. It's extremely powerful device that you have just been presented with this pearl. It truly is a pearl. When implemented, can enable us to have a world as a world this that works for everyone. And it can be a device that can transform it. And it begins with one person at a time. The thing that the care pearl does is it brings you home to you. And you stop fixing. And you've heard me say it in some of the previous pearls or wisdom sessions, that the moment we step into fixing, it's as if you're taking a step forward and it looks like, okay, I've taken the step forward, I've made the move and I'm moving forward, and then it's time to take the next step and the next step. But really, the moment you step into fixing, where are you taking? Where is that step landing? That first step you take when you adopt a fixing approach is the step on a hamster wheel. So it feels like you're moving, but really all you're doing is moving that wheel, and the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. You're not moving forward. You're in the same place, exhausting yourself. I don't even want to call it a lens because it isn't. It's really the care perspective to choice. Conscious awareness, respect, enjoy it. You enjoy it, the other person does. I mean, it is quite emotional for people right now when, I've got a few friends who are visiting here from New York in Dubai, and, they have breakfast with people, and then suddenly somebody's diagnosed as COVID, and then everybody starts to, you become like someone that nobody really wants to know because you'd had breakfast with this other person that is now diagnosed with COVID. So it can feel very emotional. You can experience a sense of abandonment when that happens, especially if you're in a foreign land. So I've had major emotional outbursts occur in front of me. And the care perspective to choice is like literally beyond empathy even. Because you are in your own way in the space of conscious awareness, respect, and joy. You are receiving that other person in the same way too. And they feel received, they feel seen. Now, care. How it is used or misused. I can hear some ticking in the background, so I'm just going to close one of the apps that is causing that to happen. Okay. We use it like, take care, or we sometimes beat ourselves up for being careless, or you can't be too careful these days. Yes, you can be full of care. Conscious awareness, respect, and joy. Come on, bring it on. Careless, we see it as something which, actually, it doesn't matter how we see it. The key thing is, once you even become aware of what care is, being full of care is not about being cautious. It's really about being conscious, aware, respecting yourself and, as a dignitarian, and enjoy. So, being careful is a really great blessing, actually, that you can share with yourself and with people. Go on, be full of care. The meaning we give to the different renditions and places that we use the phrase care is really down to us. The bottom line is care as a vibe. The innate vibe is being seen. So the moment you care, you automatically share the innate vibe of being seen, and you know that you are being seen, and you see the other person. Not only that, you also become a wonderful observer of all that is. Because after all, care is conscious awareness, respect, and joy. And you are in joy. You are experiencing the celebration vibe. You are experiencing the fullness of your presence. You're getting comfortable in that. And in doing so, you are converting the data of your different life experiences into information, into knowledge that enables you to act and operate in certain ways, and allowing it to land as wisdom, converting it into a knowing that you are worthy. And it's done in a very conscious way. So it's not that I am worthy and I'm going to do a positive incantation about it. Well, you can, but it actually gets you, applying the care methodology, it actually gets you to understand the nuances of that which makes you worthy. And you do it with that vibe of respect. So you do it with honor. That in itself puts you in a very different presence. You are received for who you are in the fullness of who you are, and you receive. And what's more, it is not all serious and heavy duty. You can be in the most serious and heavy duty situations and still be in the vibe of enjoyment, enjoy. And you know what becomes available to us when we are engaged in actions that give us joy? What becomes available to us is happiness. Happiness is a consequence of engaging in actions of joy that give you joy. So as a result of applying the care perspective to the choices you make, we enjoy the several consequences. We enjoy the consequence of bliss because awareness really gets you to see all the blessings and brings those blessings into a conscious presence of you. You also get to get into that knowingness of everything that makes you worthy, and all the worthiness that you are presencing when you show up. And then you amass a collection of actions and observations that give you joy. So the consequence of happiness is anchored. I mean, I just love it. I love these pearls of wisdom. They are so rich. And I can absolutely see how if we did nothing else but actually brought in the care perspective, applied it to choice, given that we are choosing every moment of our aliveness, everything will transform. With that, over to you, Catherine, to facilitate our completion words or anything else that people wish to share.
Thank you, Mynoo. Always brilliance that flows through. I love this. Such a simple word, but so much there. This idea of care and the way that you've brought this forth. New perspectives, always. And, I love that how we can experience our own dignity. It's just so refreshing that, we have this choice. Sometimes we forget. So thank you so much for that reminder, Mynoo, and for bringing forth. It's also very simple for us to remember this acronym of care. Yeah. So I'd love to, I'd love for everyone to share your word or words or thoughts for tonight and for this wisdom that Mynoo has brought forth. I know that for me, I love being reminded of my choice. I think that's such a profound remembrance that we often forget. So thank you. So my word is relishing in the dignity of choice. And who else would like to bring forth their words so I can read these out to Mynoo? So, okay, we have the depth of caring is indeed so powerful. Yes. A radiance of love to all, care and caring. Feeling comfortable in my own worthiness, warm and fuzzy. I love that. Yes, it is that yumminess, isn't it? Thank you for reminding me of the true me I want to be. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we just need to be reminded. It's so true. We just keep going through life and sometimes forget. Thank you for, we have regenerative bliss. Yes. This whole concept of regenerative is brilliant because we think about sustainable and now we have a new perspective. So happy to be caring, and the fact that happiness is also a choice. Enlighten and empowering. Yes. Thank you. Gratitude, Mynoo.
I mean, isn't it great that we use the phrase care homes for our, for our elderly? Even though they are not necessarily using it in this way, just by bringing it forth as one of the pearls of wisdom, we have imbued care homes with the vibe of conscious awareness, respect, and joy.
Mm.
It's really very important to anchor this sort of wisdom in this way. So your closing words are really important to us. It's great. Great, Catherine. Over to you to complete our session.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for coming every Thursday night. We'll be on our 10th Pearl of Wisdom next Thursday. And who knows what Mynoo is going to bring forth. So I look forward.
It's a yummy one. That's what I would say to you.
Oh, it's a yummy one. Delicious. Delicious.
It is
Well,
delicious.
that's my favorite word right now is the yumminess and just relishing in the yumminess. And when we get off track, to remember there's yumminess there and that we are worthy. So we have a couple more words. We have dignity, deep, care-filled wisdom. Yes, for sure. And thank you guys all so much for joining us this Thursday. We'll be back for our 10th Pearl of Wisdom, and we will definitely see you on our Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday Beyond Meditation. Thank you again, Mynoo, for just being here to give us this delicious, yummy wisdom, as always. And I look forward to seeing everyone right here next Thursday.
Great. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.